Alex Crawford, this research rather suggests you're wasting your time, doesn't it?
I'm not sure that research is absolutely accurate, to be honest, Jeremy. I mean, certainly my own evidence is that people do engage, they do connect, and they're very, very interested in what's going on around the world. Now, you're not going to have life-changing scenarios like Michael Burke's report of Ethiopia every day. But, I mean, he is a perfect example of how people were absolutely engaged in hundreds of thousands around the world. And I think foreign correspondence, that is the challenge around the world, to get people to respond, to get people to understand and to get people to engage in it. And I think...
What are you, some sort of social worker?
No, not at all. But these have implications on our daily lives in Britain. Everything that's happening around the world will come back to our doorstep. So what's happening in Libya and Syria, Afghanistan and Pakistan does and is having an impact on our daily lives in Britain. And
Alex,
surely we need to know more about what's happening there.
A good CV for your company to send you to exotic places around the world, but the reality of it all is that most people, actually even an erudite audience like Newsnight, wouldn't have the vaguest idea where South Sudan is, let alone why it had split from North Sudan. And yet, bizarrely, only a few nights ago, the 10 o'clock BBC News was leading on it. Why? Why does anybody care anymore? You look at the Middle East, look at the battle between the Sunnis and the Shias. They have been fighting for 1,000 years. What is the point of covering this stuff? Why don't we look? For instance, look at Channel 4's fantastic documentary about Benefit Street, about the reality show about that. Look, why don't we look at what's happening more into our own backyard, where they're getting audiences of 7 million at 9 o'clock at night for what's happening in our own country, whereas we look at the overseas coverage, which is costing various news organisations a fortune, and literally you could count the audience on one hand. People do not want, they understand, like Ethiopia, it's 30 years ago, one show, and the rest of it has by and large turned out to be nothing but TV dross. It's because we have film, it's because we have film of it, because they send people out to these places and they won't send them out to Nuneaton or Preston or Glasgow to find the story.
All right, justify your existence, Alex.
Well, Mr. MacKenzie, I don't think stick it up your junta really is covering foreign news. And I'm not sure coverage of Hillsborough, your coverage of Hillsborough is very representative of good home coverage. So I'm not sure, with all respect, whether you're particularly qualified to talk about foreign news.
I don't know what Hillsborough's got to do with it.
There's a serious point here, though. Alex, there is a serious point here. I mean, you and I both know why some news editors choose to put certain kinds of foreign coverage on television. And it's to do with the fact that it appears to be exciting. There's lots of bang-bang. There are a few dead bodies around. They think that is a lot more exciting than anything that's going to be filmed in this country.
Well, that's not true. I think certainly male editors are maybe seduced by Bang Bang, but I don't. But that is very. It's becoming history now. There are many more females who are making these decisions, and times are changing. But I just came back from Central African Republic this morning. Now, that is a country which most people would find difficult to pinpoint on a map. And yet I did one report, because what I try and do, and what many foreign correspondents try and do, is trying to empathise with the local people. They're right on the ground, and they try and pick stories which will resonate with people who are a long way away. I did a story about a pregnant woman giving birth in absolutely horrific circumstances, and bearing in mind we don't get any response on most stories, home or foreign.
So you think
so I'm saying it's relative. I got a lot of response on that one when they saw this poor woman giving response.
But I mean, the Central African Republic.
No, I know. I'm
what
quite
on
happy
earth
to say
has the Central African Republic got to do with our lives? What is it that you're going to reveal that people from different tribes hate each other and they're trying to kill each other and in some cases, bizarrely, trying to eat each other? Actually, that hasn't changed now. And are you trying to tell me you reporting it in some rather curious way is bringing it to a wider audience in which we can solve this more easily? There is no sign of that. They have been at each other's throats now for as long as I can remember.
OK, Alex, go on.
First of all, Ms MacKenzie, where do you draw the line for foreign? I mean, do you think north of England is foreign? Do you think Scotland is foreign?
What I do think it's not your fault. You're going to accept going there. I quite understand it. I'm saying it's up for editors to say, actually, the audience don't want this stuff. We'll stick it at the end, rather than leading it off and boring everybody to death and leading to enormously small audiences. In essence, your coverage is killing TV news.
But everything that is happening around the world, Ms MacKenzie, has an impact. For instance, the killing of a soldier, Lee Rigby, in Britain, started in Kenya, a long way away. Now,
but
don't you think people want to know a bit?
Central African Republic, what relevance has that got?
Well, that's a different argument, Jeremy. I think that is about being empathetic human beings. Are we just going to turn the other cheek when there is a type of genocide going on? Listen, you know, I don't think people are happy with hearing that there are hundreds of thousands of people killed in a small, poverty-stricken country, and they just want to turn away and turn the other cheek and not know about that.
This research, actually,
I mean, they engaged with Ethiopia.
Actually, argues against you. Ordinary people are saying that we think A, that there's propaganda, B, that we can't take anymore. In a sense, they've got sort of war fatigue and deprivation fatigue. And I don't believe that just by doing yards and yards of television, because you happen to be in some place that nobody could find in a light mist, right, is a reason to simply keep you in work. That
is very unfair and also not true, because everyone in this economic stage that we're in around the world is having to cut their cloth according to what they've got. And that means deciding certainly in most companies and most television channels around the world, they're having to cut back. And that makes them decide very, very carefully where to go and what to do. Good news for the audience.
Good news for the audience, bad news for journalists.
All right,
in South Africa.
I think we've had quite enough from you, Kelvin. Thanks, Alex. See you.